Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone, and welcome to your number one source for Native American television news, Native News Today. I'm your host, Jason Salzman. I want to thank you for joining us here from the Muscogee Media Studios as we get ready for another great episode. It is our 500th episode coming to you with Native News Today. Man, what a journey it's been. I think back just under 10 years ago, spanning this 500 episodes. Just having an idea and wanting to bring a Native American TV show to the people of Oklahoma, and really didn't have anything like it at the time, and I just was real wet behind the ears, didn't know if I could pull it off, but here we are. A lot of great people have been with me along the way to make this happen. For sure. So I'll get to that a little bit later on in the program, but 500 episodes, it's quite an accomplishment. Other than just making me feel a little bit old, a lot older than I was when I started, but it's been a great journey. And that being said, there's so many stories, conversations that we've had over the years. I couldn't possibly fit them all on this episode. So we're just going to do business as usual this week. It's going to just be a regular show and great stories and great conversations. Actually, we have some fantastic guests this week. And we actually went and visited with Sean Partridge, who is the Muscogee Creek Nation Family Violence Prevention Program Director here at Muscogee Creek Nation. Talked with her and Dr. Lawrence Vark. He is the Acting Secretary of Health here at Muscogee Creek Nation. Talked with him about emergency contraception, what it is offered here at Muscogee Creek Nation, what part of our program is it offered in, the fact that maybe it's an ethical question for lots of people. We cover all of that as it relates to Plan B, as people call Plan B drugs, things like that. So we talk with them about that in detail. Also, the Muscogee Creek Indian Freedman band, people that haven't had a voice for very long, they are now out there and wanting to do appearances. So after this break, we'll talk with the director of the Muscogee Creek Indian Freedman band, Mr. Ron Graham. Don't go anywhere.
We believe if you teach a man to fish, you can feed him for a lifetime. We believe that transitioning convicted citizens back into our communities enhances public safety. We believe that every citizen, even ex-prisoners, are important and are capable of change. We believe in reclaiming our citizens and investing them back into a culture that embraces healing and restoration.
We believe
in reintegration.
And welcome back into the program, and with us now, special guest, Mr. Ron Graham. He is the president of the Muscogee Creek Indian Freedman Band. And Mr. Graham, thank you so much for being with us today in studio.
Thank you for having me. I sure appreciate it.
We wanted to have you in today to talk a little bit about the Freedman Band. Tell us a little bit about the organization.
First of all, as you stated, I am the president of the Muscogee Creek Indian Freedman Band. And we're an organization that's trying to gather up the freedmen by them coming to us, letting them know who they are and who we are and what we're about. We're trying to get federally recognized right now, but things are in the process of getting federally recognized in Washington, D.C., so that's where it stands right now.
Long and storied history. Takes us all the way back to 1866 treaty with the Creek Indians, Article 2. Tell us a little bit about that history.
Yeah, that history, Article 2 of 1866, that is where the people of African descent actually got their citizenship based on the whole treaty of 1866. There in Article 2 is very important for the people of African descent or the ex-slaves of the Creek Nation, because just like the slaves down south, it was the Emancipation Proclamation that made them U.S. citizens. It was the Treaty of 1866 in Article 2 that made our ancestors Creek Nation citizens.
And now, when you talk about from then to now, you mentioned it briefly there. What is the main objective now, Mr. Graham? Is it federal recognition of the band itself? Is it becoming citizens of the Muscogee Creek Nation? What's the main objective right now?
Our main objective right now, being president of this band, is that we become federally recognized, having our own ways of doing things, such as the Muscogee Creek Nation. Just want an opportunity of being who we are. I mean, bringing back our identity as Creek Indians. But that's our main objective. Me personally, I have helped other people get enrolled in the Muscogee Creek Nation. But our main objective is to become our own band, become self-sufficient, just as all the other tribes.
And you look at some of the other tribes have had similar arrangements and things that they've went through. What's been your opinion to look at that and see maybe some of the similarities in you all trying to gain that recognition?
Well, in trying to gain that recognition, we have to come up with documentations such as birth and death certificates of someone leading up to the Dawes rolls, the Dawes Commission, on the Freedmen roll. We've had to demonstrate that we were part of the Creek Nation, and we are Creek Indians. So that's what we're trying to do right now. But going back, we kind of similar with the Cherokee and the Seminole Nation. Our treaties were similar with those tribes. But back in 1979, I believe the Muscogee Creek Nation reorganized under the Oklahoma Indian Warfare Act, and that's where things got separated from the Creek Freedmen. That's the start of some things got separated from the Creek Freedmen to the Creek Nation.
And the drafting of the Constitution as we know it, they're happening around that same time. Let me ask you, Mr. Graham, you look at how the federal government has dealt with tribal nations. There are some that would say it's almost been like a fracturing method that they've gone about with the Dawes Roll, with blood quantum, with the determination that they make of who are Native American, who belongs to these tribes, rather than the tribes themselves having this sovereignty and autonomy to establish their own citizenry. Do you see it that way too?
Absolutely, I do see it that way. We 110% believe in sovereignty. We ourselves are looking for sovereignty as freedmen, as a freedman band. And like you stated, that blood quantum right now is what determines a person's citizenship. And as you very well know, that the census cards for the freedmen do not list their blood quantums. And that's one of the things that's in the Muscogee Creek Nation Constitution. It states that you have to have a listed blood quantum to become a citizen of the Creek Nation. And it actually says, that was one part. The other part is that you have to be listed on the Dawes Commission roll, and the freedmen are. But what separates us is that we don't have a listed blood quantum on our card. So yes, we 110% believe in sovereignty, absolutely, and that's what we're looking for in our band and trying to be federally recognized.
Yeah, I talk to Creeks all the time that look at their card and say that's not the correct quantum on me and things like that. So there are problems, there are issues to look at there. You make a lot of appearances. You do a lot of work outside of your primary work, but you do a lot of appearances, things like that. Here recently, you were just at the College of the Muscogee Nation.
Yes.
Talk about some of the things that you share in those meetings.
Well, I first give a definition of the Muscogee Creek Indian Freedman. Yes, we were enslaved. Our ancestors were enslaved by the Muscogee Creek Nation citizens of the tribe. But after the Treaty of 1866, that period we were put on an equal level as Muscogee Creek Nation citizens. Just as the native citizens, we were, even through the 1867 Creek Nation Constitution, we were given the same thing that the native citizens were given, such as during Dawes Commission time, we were allotted 160 acres. My father, Theodore Blue Graham, his roll number is Newborn Creek Freedman 671. He was given 160 acres. We were given the same opportunity as citizens of the Creek Nation that were on the blood roll, the by blood roll. But that's one of the things I start with, the definition of who the freedmen are right now and what they were and what they become. They were judges, they were attorneys, they were tribal legislators, such as they were in the House of Kings, House of Warriors, they were doctors, teachers, they were light horse police, and of course they were loyal citizens.
Yeah. You also you all have a website. I know you're real proud of that. There's a lot of information on there.
Yes.
It contains not only your mission statement, but it contains some educational tools as well. Certain documents, things basically backing up your statements and things like you said, getting that documentation.
Absolutely. Everything is about documentation.
Right.
Even becoming a citizen of the Creek Nation, you must have your documentation. People ask me all the time, well, my DNA. It has nothing to do with DNA. It has everything to do with documentation. So yes, I try to educate people about the difference between the by blood roll and the freedman roll. There's only one difference, and that difference is the blood quantum. Now, on the freedman roll, on the census card, it does not list your blood quantum. There's not even a column for blood quantum. So I tell them the difference about that. I tell them that we receive the same thing as Creek Nation citizens, by blood or freedmen. We're the same. We have the same history because we were intertwined with each other. So that's one thing I try to teach about. I teach about the land that was given to us, 160 acres, each citizen, newborn, minor. If you were full blood, if you were freedman, you received 160 acres. And so that's what I try to instill and to teach about the freedmen. And I stress this. One thing that separates us is that blood quantum. That is the only thing that separates us being a citizen of the Creek Nation, is that they being the Dawes Commission did not list our blood quantum on the census card. But may I add, they did have Indian blood, Creek Indian blood. It just was not listed. And I do prove that in my PowerPoint presentation that I give at these various places that I go to.
What's one of the next stops you're going to be making?
First of all, I want to educate. I want to have opportunities like this you're giving me right now in the Creek Nation. I'm truly grateful for this opportunity. Is to educate. I want to educate. I want people to know exactly what went on with the Dawes Commission, their tactics they used to exclude, try to divide the Creek Nation, which they have done, not only the Creek Nation, the Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and the Seminole Nations, by putting two rolls, one for the freedman roll and the by blood roll. But one of the things I want to do is simply educate. And then we're going to continue to press on with trying to get our federal recognition through the Bureau of Indian Affairs at the Office of Federal Acknowledgement, which is in Washington, D.C. So those are two of the main objectives that I'm looking at. And I only represent a few that's in our association. I've helped many, though, many, and I thank God that He's given me the direction and guidance on helping people like that and educating. And I thank those who helped me along my path. So I appreciate this opportunity, Jason. I really do.
We appreciate you coming in, sir, and we thank you for those words. And this is really good stuff. We appreciate the time. And give us that website that people can go to.
Website you can go to is www.1866creekfreedman.com. Again, it's www.1866creekfreedman.com.
All right, thank you so much, sir. We appreciate having you in, and
thank you.
Good luck with everything. And we'll keep everybody out there posted on your status.
All right, sounds good.
You bet.
Bro.
Looking for your next 18-hole adventure? Then take a look at Fountainhead Creek Golf Club. Nestled in the beautiful confines of Lake Eufaula State Park, large sloping greens and well-placed bunkers characterize the Muscogee Creek Nation's Floyd Farley designed course and offers a fine test of skill for any golfer. Stay up on all the latest gear and equipment with a visit to our pro shop. Have lunch at the Turn at the Clubhouse Grill. We're waiting to accommodate you at Fountainhead Creek. Give us a call at 918-689-3209 or visit fountainheadgolf.com to book your next round. Fountainhead Creek Golf Club, close to home, far from ordinary. And welcome back to the program, and want to thank Mr. Ron Graham, the president of the Muscogee Creek Indian Freedman Band, for coming in and telling the story of the Muscogee Creek Indian Freedman Band and really their position and what they're trying to accomplish and the things that they have gathered, all of their research and hard work. It was great having Mr. Graham on. I want to thank him for taking time out of his day, coming down and visiting with us. And we'll keep you updated, as we said, with all the happenings with the Muscogee Creek Indian Freedman Band. Well, moving right along in our show, as I said from the opener, we had Sean Partridge and Dr. Lawrence Vark on with us talking about the new SANE program here at the Muscogee Creek Nation being implemented and just what it means for Creek people, specifically Creek women's health, and what's going on with that, the things that they are made available to them, the resources that they have at our health department, our programs, and what it means for us moving forward as a health division and with family violence and prevention working together. So we hope you enjoy this.
So SANE is Sexual Assault Nurse Examiner program. So victims of sexual assault are able to go and receive an exam free of charge. No cost to them, where they have a nurse, a skillfully, specially trained nurse, has the ability to collect forensic evidence, but also to treat any medical health needs that the victim has. Also provide access to emergency and preventative health care as far as HIV, prophylactic medication, emergency contraception. In terms of us being able to provide a SANE, have a SANE program, when you have a victim of sexual assault that's coming to get that specialized care, we want to ensure that they are able to access everything that they need in terms of medical treatment, but also the emergency contraception. And so what we're looking at right now, it's my understanding that health is considering approving or looking at approving Plan B just for victims of sexual assault that are undergoing the SANE exams. Until that happens, we're having to kind of work on some alternatives on how we can still provide Plan B to victims that do come and receive the exams. Right now, that some of the discussions have been that we're looking at them having a prescription where they would have to go to Walgreens to be able to, still access that. I think that's obviously not ideal because it requires them to take an additional step, have to go into Walgreens, get that medication, when really typically in SANE exams, a nurse is able to give them that medication right within the confines of the exam room during the exam. So definitely, that's impacting SANE right now. But I have been assured that it's something that they're going to be addressing. I think for me, as a female citizen, I have a larger concerns, I guess, around the issue because I had talked previously, even before we had considered development of a SANE program, but just in this work, obviously, and working with victims of sexual assault, trying to find out about the resources that our clinics provide. And so I had asked a provider before, if they had received requests from patients for emergency contraceptives, and they had said that they had, and that typically they would refer them to the health department.
Now, when it comes to sexual assault, working with the Domestic Violence Intervention Project, we have developed what we call a sexual nurse examiner program, sexual assault nurse examiner program, or a SANE program. It will be rolled out April the 1st. It will be available at both of the Creek Nation Community Hospital in Okemah, as well as the Medical Center here in Muscogee. We have sent nurses off for training. We will be able to handle both the emotional and the physical needs of someone who is a victim of such a sad situation. And in those circumstances, we will be providing Plan B. We will provide medications if necessary for HIV prophylaxis. We will provide medications if necessary for other sexually transmitted illness prophylaxis.
We've made great progress, but of course to establish a new program takes a tremendous amount of work, especially a program like SANE, because you're talking about a program that's going to provide forensic medical examinations and care. And so there's been a tremendous amount of work that has gone into that. And we're lucky to have a great SANE program manager on board that came in, has undergone the training to become certified to do the SANE exams, because there was quite a lengthy amount of training to be able to become certified online, and then also a clinical piece. It's my understanding they do have the rooms identified at both the Muscogee Hospital and also at Okemah. There's been a great deal of work in fine-tuning policies and procedures, and then of course coordinating and collaborating with law enforcement with our program within that process. So a lot of work that has been accomplished, but still we have a great deal of work to continue to be able to have that program implemented and ready to start services, though we are hopeful that that will be April 1st.
Plan B is called Plan B for a reason. It is emergency contraception. We have a whole range of contraceptive options for patients who choose to have birth control in their medical regimen. We have the whole range of oral birth control pills. We have the Depo-Provera shot. We have Nexplanon, which is an implantable device that goes in the arm. We have Mirena, which is an intrauterine device, which is also what they call a hormone-eluting IUD, which uses a combination of IUD and hormones to prevent pregnancy. We have condoms. So although we don't have Plan B, for patients who want contraceptive options, we have many of those available. Plan B is it's designed to be emergency contraception. Plan B is actually a drug called levonorgestrel, which is a component in most birth control pills. It is just present in a higher dose for Plan B, and it is best when administered 24 to 72 hours after sexual activity. And it works by both inhibiting ovulation. It also thickens what they call cervical mucus, which makes the sperm more difficult to penetrate and fertilize. There is also some evidence that it may alter the lining of the uterus to retard implantation. Contraception after the fact starts to touch on a lot of religious and ethical questions for individuals, whether they're medical providers or not. And having when you have a population of 40 or 50 providers, you're going to get a variety of beliefs. But we do have staff who feel that that type of contraception should be available. So as a result of that, we certainly have the capacity to make it available to the citizens should they desire that.
Having the SANE program obviously is a way for us to open that conversation and have these kinds of discussions. They're important discussions because we're talking about women's health care, reproductive rights and justice, and they're not conversations that I think we've really had before. And considering I think there's a whole historical context here when we look at Native women not having access or really, their rights being respected when it comes to, reproductive care and rights. You look at I mean, forced sterilization, even, having to enforce or create and enforce policy throughout Indian Health just to make, emergency contraceptives like Plan B available. So I think it is a very important conversation that we need to have, and that obviously SANE is opening the door for that. We want our, any other program right now that a survivor of sexual assault goes to, whether it is another tribal program or a non-tribal program, they're going to be provided Plan B, again, within the context and during the exam, the SANE exam. So we want to be able to provide that same quality of care and services. So addressing that first, but then again, having a much larger discussion about availability throughout our healthcare system, I think is something that needs to happen. The provision of Plan B is completely optional to any victim that comes to access a SANE service. Right along, everything throughout the exam is completely optional. Victim, can say that they don't want maybe, this particular area examined or this procedure or something done or this collected. They really have the authority throughout the exam and are able to have done during the exam whatever they like, and it's okay, not to have certain parts of the exam done. So, and obviously that would apply to medications.
We are in the process of working out the final logistics. We plan to roll the same program out April 1st. The plan is to have the medications available to the patient at the time of the examination so that they can immediately start. Because as I've said, the earlier that you start the medications, the more effective that they are.
All right, that's going to wrap up our latest episode of Native News Today. And as I said, it is our 500th episode. Man, I think about all the people that has made this thing go from the get-go. Definitely can't leave out my main man there, Mr. Jared Moore, been with me pretty much every step of the way and made it happen, and has been behind the controls and a lot of things. Does a lot of the things that you people do not see, such as captioning our program, making it easier on us here with the resources we work with to be able to do it in-house. Does all the technical directing, so a phenomenal job. I want to thank Jared, as always, for always being there to do what is needed to make this show advance. Also, I can't talk about the 500th episode without reminiscing about our old pal, Mr. Gerald Wofford, who's hosted this show with me for many of those years and made it what it is today, and now doing a great job over at the Cherokee Nation. So wanted to send a shout out to Gerald and his contributions to the show. Everybody that's been a small part of this and a big part of this, the Muscogee Creek Nation, of course, all the tribes that we've worked with over the years, working with us, getting us access to some of the stories that we wanted to cover of your people for all the people of Oklahoma. That's been a great journey. It's been wonderful, and we're just going to continue to get better and better with your help as the viewer, getting behind us and supporting us. And that includes going on our YouTube channel. Go out there, check it out. Go on our Facebook page, go on our Twitter. Check out Muscogee Media on Instagram too. For Jared Moore, Jason Salzman, and all the great people here, Devaney Luxinger at Native News Today, I want to thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.